Joining me now is Democratic Congressman of Maryland, Glenn Ivey. Congressman, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. I do want to start, of course, with this shutdown and this proposal unveiled by Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. It includes a clean CR and a one-year extension of the health care subsidies. Is that something that you would support?
Well, I guess the interesting thing we just heard from your reporting is that clearly the Senate Republicans do not. I mean, I was surprised at how forcefully they rejected the proposal. It was almost a hostile rejection based on the quotes that I just heard. And of course, you know, the House Republicans have been out of town now for 6 weeks. They're not even making an effort to come back and engage in good faith negotiation. So, you know, I commend Senator Schumer for at least trying to figure out a path forward. But it looks like our Republican colleagues in the Senate and the House are having none of it.
Well, putting that aside, though, Congressman, I'm curious for what you would support. Would you support a one-year extension of the Obamacare subsidies to reopen the government?
I mean, maybe. I'd love to see the details, but you hate to get into hypotheticals when the people on the other side of the table for the House, they're not even showing up. So, you know, I don't know that we're willing to negotiate with ourselves or against ourselves on the House Democratic side. They need to come back to town so we can get to work. And by the way, the health crisis we're trying to fix was created by the Republicans and the bills that they put through. The Trump administration's been totally recalcitrant on this, and even stooping to the level of trying to use hunger as a weapon against Democrats to pressure us into some kind of a deal with the SNAP benefits. So we'll see how it goes. But now that the Republicans have rejected this offer as well, I'm anxious to see if they're willing to come back with some kind of proposal that reflects any kind of bipartisan good faith effort.
Congressman, obviously Democrats had a very strong night on Tuesday. Does that add more urgency for you to reopen the government, or does it make you want to dig in on your position?
Well, I think it strengthens the position that we've taken, which is that affordability is a critical issue for Americans. They're totally dissatisfied with the Trump administration because not only did he not keep the promise to bring prices down, his tariffs and other steps have actually moved things in the wrong direction. Groceries are costing more, utilities cost more. Obviously, health care is going to go up. People are getting their premium notices that saying their rates are going to double or triple in the very near future. So, you know, the affordability agenda that the Democrats are trying to move forward with, I think was successful in New Jersey, was successful in Virginia and other jurisdictions across the country. We're going to keep moving forward with that. And I think eventually the Republicans are going to have to hear what the American people are saying them and try and take steps to address those concerns.
Congressman, what do you say to federal workers, some of them who are lining up outside of food banks, working without pay, and they feel like they're the ones bearing the brunt of this shutdown, and their message to Democrats and Republicans is reopen the government. We don't care what the details are, just end this suffering that their families are enduring.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm hearing something different from my constituents, and I've been hearing from them today as well as previously. And I don't just mean, you know, buddies, you know, when we're out, you know, talking to each other casually. I mean, I go up to people and they're standing in line at the food pantries to get food because they got laid off or riffed several months ago or they're furloughed now. And they're saying to a person so far, stay strong. I've got very savvy people here in my district. They understand that this is a critical moment, I think, for the nation as far as making sure we get the Trump administration to start following the law and to stop violating court orders, for example, and to negotiate in good faith. Because they know that people need health care. They know millions of people have their health care at risk, and they understand the importance of making sure that something happens to address that.
And yet there are some federal workers who feel the opposite way, and we had some of them at the top of our program, who feel like they just want the government to reopen. One woman who we spoke to said she had to go to work today without eating last night. How can that be acceptable, Congressman, in the United States?
Of course it's not. We should be able to reopen the government. And I don't think that what the Democrats are requesting here is really too much to ask. In fact, I think it's totally reasonable. Trying to force the American people into choosing between reopening the government and having basic health care makes absolutely no sense. Same thing with eating. What the Trump administration tried to weaponize hunger in order to pressure us Democrats to try and accept the deal they're trying to force down the American people's throats. But that's not it's a false choice. We should be able to reopen the government, address the SNAP needs, because they've got the money to cover that already, and the courts have already expressed that, and that's why they've ordered them to move forward with the payments, and also to address the health care needs. The Schumer proposal, extended for a year while we try and work something out, and they just shut that down. I mean, doesn't make any sense. The House Republicans are absent without leave for six weeks now. Matter of fact, they've only been in session for 12 days since July 25th. And President Trump's been silent on this as well. I mean, he's got plenty of time to go to, Asia and add a $300 million ballroom. But taking a leadership position on this issue, he hasn't bothered with that. So I think it's important for us to try and address these issues so we can make sure we're doing everything we can to help the American people. But the Republicans really need to step up. The my way or the highway thing really needs to stop. House Republicans need to come back to Capitol Hill and get to work. And I think if we sit down, we can resolve these things in good faith.
Congressman, let me ask you, we're almost out of time. You said you do support the mid-decade redistricting push in Maryland. The president of the Senate in Maryland, a Democrat, says it twists the rules for potential short-term gain while undermining trust in institutions and ultimately in democracy. Are you concerned that this tit for tat could undermine the democratic process?
Wow. I mean, it's interesting for Republicans to raise the concern about undermining the democratic process. The Trump administration has turned the Department of Justice into the Department of Revenge with these fake charges that they've been bringing against people that Donald Trump is mad at and has on an enemies list. He's been lying about the 2020 elections for, 5 years now? And whenever they lose an election, he says it was stolen. I mean, they've done thing after thing after thing. They've told lies across the board about what's happening with the electoral process. They really are in no position to cast the first stone about the undermining democratic institutions. And by the way, the only reason we got into this mid-decade issue was when Donald Trump picked up the phone, called the governor of Texas, and said, "I need 5 seats." That triggered all of this. So to my Republican colleagues who kind of say things like that, give me a break.
All right. Congressman Glenn Ivey, thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.